Greetings and salutations, beautiful people in the beautiful world. He is I am him, Zach Latimer, Z-Lat. Take your pick, whichever one you want to call it. We are back with another segment of Right and Exact. And today, what I want to touch on, what I want to talk about is criticism. Yes, criticism. Now, there's a difference. There's a difference between constructive criticism and unwarranted criticism. All right? And it's on you to tell the difference. And one big thing of how you could tell which one is which, and the first thing that you need to probably know is knowledge of self, right? You got to deal with yourself and know where you're at in life. You have to be very honest and very clear with yourself of where you're at and which direction you're going. One thing that when I was coming home, I was listening to J. Cole. And J. Cole, when he was on the radio, he was talking in this particular song. He was saying, back before I was a B-list celebrity, right? So this man is taking time to know and acknowledge of where he's at in life and where he views himself and where others may view him as well. So now when somebody starts throwing darts or starts throwing something at him and making jokes, you can't come at me or you can't come for me because I already know. I've already done that evaluation. I'll give you a great example. Great example. When I was in school, when I was in college, we used to be in the locker room. We used to go back and forth with jokes, right? And it's one of those things when somebody throws something at you and you're insecure about something, then you'll feel it inside of you, and you'll feel the need to respond to it. And one thing that we used to go back and forth with, cats used to be like, Zach, man, you brush your hair with a toothbrush at the top, man, because I mean it was getting real thin, right? And I used to come back at him like, whoa, that made me feel some type of way, made me feel some type of way. So when somebody comes at you, so let's say, and I posted a picture, I'm like, hey, that hair looks a little thin at the top, and I felt like I needed to respond. Guess what? Sometimes it's probably true if they come at you and it grabs you. That's how you grab somebody without putting any hands on them. If you feel like something has grabbed you, you haven't done a proper assessment of yourself. And I remember I used to sit up there and let them just edge right at the front of the head. Cut it off, man. Just cut that thing off. But you're still holding on to something. You haven't really been brutal with yourself. Now, I ain't saying just beat yourself up, but now you just got to start being honest with yourself of where you're at in life and how you view yourself and how others view you, right? So the main thing with that is you have to know knowledge of self. And one thing that comes in mind of how to critique yourself too is just writing down daily of what you've done, things that you like about yourself, things that you don't like about yourself, and then you're gonna have to be honest with you and talk about what have I heard some others people say about me too, and then see if there's any validity with any of these said statements. And you're going to have to be very honest with yourself. And once you start to be honest with yourself, then once these said statements starts coming at you, then you'll be able to roll down your back. Just like sometimes when I'm scrolling down my timeline or something and I'll see some people on there who post pictures in a two-piece, and all of a sudden they're like, and she's a little fluffy. Let's use that word, fluffy, or he is a little fluffy. And they feel some type of way when people start commenting about themselves. But then they get a little angry when somebody says, hey, you're a little fluffy. Well, have you really sat back and done a knowledge of self and critiqued yourself where you're able to now hear some of those comments and be able to brush them off because you already know this about yourself? You've already done that work and put in that time to have knowledge of self. But if you haven't, and it kind of moves you and it kind of pulls you some type of way, then you know that spirit is still inside of you that you have not addressed yet, and you need to address it. Okay, now another thing that comes to mind too is when you start moving and ascending to a different space, then it's easier to see you when you move from the crowd. So just know when you're not at eye level and you start moving and you start going up, now everybody can see you, and you've now put yourself out there where you can be seen. Just like this video that I'm doing right now, I'm putting myself out there to be critiqued, which is totally fine. People can come at me and you can say whatever, because at the end of the day, either there might be some truth to it or there may not be, but either way, I've already critiqued myself. And I welcome at least other people's critique. And especially if I have deemed this person worthy of critiquing me, well, then now I'm going to take heed to it and do something different. And one thing that comes to mind too, when you, especially dealing with unwarranted critiques, is something that my dad always used to say when we were kids, when we were younger. I used to come to him, or one of my siblings would go to him like, hey, so-and-so is doing this, or so-and-so is doing that. And then he used to look and be like, so what? So what? At the end of the day, so what? If you start hearing all of this stuff coming at you and you've already done that work and put in that time of knowledge of self, and then you start seeing all these people just start throwing rocks, like Jay-Z said, you're throwing rocks at the throne, so what? Because if you sit there and you try to address everybody who is throwing something at you, you will never get to your destination. You will never get to where you want to go. And you need to understand that dogs do not bark at parked cars. So if you are sitting there and doing absolutely nothing, then guess what? You are just like that misery loves company. They're not going to say nothing about you because you're not doing anything. So once you start moving in a direction that you want to go, moving in a direction of ascension, then just know there's going to be people that start pulling you down. You need to be able to discern if this is constructive criticism or unwarranted criticism. And if it's unwarranted criticism, then now you need to turn the windshield wipers on like you do in your car when it starts raining or snowing, and then bop, get it out of there. What you say about me? Oh, you big. Bop. Oh, you losing your hair. Bop. Yeah, I cut it off. I already know that. And then you start going into your own self, and then you start walking around with confidence, right? But you got to be able to deal with the criticism that comes along with the territory. So I will that you got something out of this. I will that you have a wonderful day. And I thank you for tuning in. And I will see you next time on Right and ExZach. And I am in. And Zach Lat is out. Chunking up. Deuces.